Samsung have paused the One UI 7 update. How in the world have we got here? Welcome back to SamMobile TV. You're here with Daniel. After a very short rollout period, Samsung have ground to a halt the rollout of One UI 7. It's become a bit of a mess. So let's take a look at what led us here. Today isn't going to be a video showing you One UI 7 and giving you tutorial heaps of B-roll. We're just going to talk about it. Back in October at Samsung Developer Conference, Samsung unveiled One UI 7 and announced their rollout plan for the new software. Part of the rollout was a beta program that was beginning later that year and then launching at the start of this year with the next flagship being the Galaxy S25. Initially at SDC, we did get a bit of a small hands-on with some S24s running One UI 7. And our initial thoughts were that we were really impressed with the offering that Samsung had shown us. The thing that kind of struck us, though, with the announcement and then with the software that we saw was that how behind Samsung were at that point in the year. One UI, in recent years especially, has always launched at the end of the year rather than waiting for the next flagship. We then got to the beta, the first version of the beta on the S24 Ultra. We got introduced to features like the Now bar, and a completely redesigned quick panel and notification area. At that point, the beta actually felt quite incredible to use. Fast, fluid, and really well thought out. The next significant milestone was the launch of the Galaxy S25 series. One UI 7 was official. New Galaxy AI features, new interactions. The UI was final. Or so we thought. Samsung released some more betas of One UI 7, not just for the S24 series, but for Flip, Fold, and S23. All of those devices with the betas that dropped got features that the S25 didn't. Most notably, live notifications for the media player and the updated and final charging animations. That brings us to where we are now. Samsung just last week started the official rollout of One UI 7 in its home country of Korea. Foldables, S-Series of 2024 all started getting the final official version of One UI 7. Europe soon followed on, again, those same devices, but then there was nothing for what felt like forever, but even though it was just a few days. And then after that, what people were noticing was that Samsung's quietly removing the One UI 7 firmware from their servers, meaning that it's basically being paused and halted, and then they were all gone. What happened is a critical bug was discovered that meant Samsung just had to stop and pause the entire rollout. The bug effectively was people being prevented from unlocking their phones. Pretty serious software flaw. Now, the whole point of this One UI 7 rollout being delayed by this stretch of time was to optimize it perfectly, iron out any kinks and bugs and flaws to make sure when it launched, there was nothing that could go wrong. And then the fact that we now have a critical flaw in the software rollout is definitely cause for concern. Considering the beta program was as long as it was, it's a bit of a failure not to identify this major issue on a global scale. We've always been talking about here at SamMobile about Samsung wanting to optimize the software, make sure it's perfect before it's released, and how TMRO is focusing on software optimization versus just rushing new features out the door. Well, it seems like here that even with the time they took, they still haven't been able to get it right. In sharp contrast to all of this, other Android manufacturers like Xiaomi and Oppo and OnePlus are quickly and swiftly jumping on and releasing new versions of Android and new versions of their operating system in a very timely fashion. There's even now beta programs for Android 16, the next version of Android, and potentially for Samsung at least One UI 8. So what does Samsung do from here? Well, firstly, fix this flaw. Get the One UI 7 rollout back on track and release it in a stable fashion, in a very timely fashion from here on in. But then alongside that, and what needs to happen afterwards, is One UI 8 needs to happen very quickly. Samsung need to get to work on bringing a very stable version of Android 16 this year. There should be no reason why we have to wait another 12 months for the next version of Android. Not that I believe that Android 16 is absolutely necessary. Some of the features on Android 16 we might have already seen on One UI already. But still, I think just from a public image point of view And for consumer confidence point of view, Samsung need to make it happen quicker rather than later. I understand that you guys will undoubtedly be frustrated, especially with how we've actually been looking at One UI 7 and how well it's performed. I'm quite surprised that we're now at this point. We shouldn't be. Let us know in the comments how you're feeling. Hit subscribe while you're down there, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks.